Okay, welcome back. So in this video we're going to work on the grip down here. Now this video is going to be a little bit more technical and showing some more awesome workflows that you might have not seen before. So this isn't going to be super basic, but it is going to teach you a lot. So the first thing I want to do is actually get this grip to be not so blocky, because if you look at any sort of weapon grips, they're pretty rounded and curvy and have areas in the front that are kind of nudged for your fingers, if that makes sense. So first thing I want to do is actually access this grip, because right now it's connected both to the trigger area as well as the magazine. So I'm just going to tab into face mode, and actually I'm just going to separate this entire piece. We'll reconnect it back up once we're finished. So let's press the P key and then separate by selection. And now you're going to see, if we go back into object mode, this is its own separate piece. So if we press / on the number pad, this will take us into our local view. I'm just going to press 5 as well on the number pad so I can view it in perspective. I think it's a little bit nicer. And now we just need to fill in these holes that are here. So tab into edge mode. If we alt click, we can fill that in with the F key. Alt click and fill that in with the F key. Now I don't want these edges here anymore, so I'm going to alt shift click both of them and press Control X to dissolve them out. Okay, now at this point I want to add in some more geometry, because if we were to press Control 2, we get this blob type effect. We don't really have any geometry to hold it. So if we just tab into edit mode and press Control R, we can add in some loops there. Maybe add in, I don't know, maybe 2 loops here. Control R and 2 loops there. Now let's tab into face mode and just pull out some of these faces. So click a face, control click to select down, and I'm just going to kind of, make a little bit of variation in this thing. It's very blocky, but that will be fixed. So, just kind of select areas, pull them out, do whatever you want really. Just give this thing a little bit more variation. Maybe go into edge mode and pull that in, and face mode, maybe pull some of these out. And you know what, last thing I think I'll do is maybe select all these top faces and then just scale them in just a little bit. Okay, now we should have something kind of like this here. What I'm going to do is tab into object mode, and let's shade this smooth. So right click and then shade smooth, and let's turn on our auto smooth here. Looks very blocky and ugly, so don't worry too much about it. We're just kind of taking a look. Doesn't look terrible. I would scale in a little bit so it's a little bit of a thinner grip and not too wide or anything. So about there should be okay. And then we can just press Control A and apply the scale just to avoid any issues in the future. And you know what, let's go into the side view, or face mode into the side rather, and select some of these faces. Let's pull some of those out. You know what, I'll do without that face, just pull that out a bit. Maybe select some of these. Just kind of making some arbitrary designs here, nothing crazy really. Okay, now let's try adding some subsurf. If we press Control 2, we can see how this comes out. Not too shabby. Let's give it some more variation though. This thing looks too boring. So in our front view, maybe we could just tab into edge mode. And let me think, maybe if we select these bottom edges, press O to go into proportional editing, we can just I'm trying to think of something interesting. Maybe pull that up a bit this way, just for a little bit of curvature. Maybe take these edges. Proportional editing is really your friend, because you can make all sorts of different variations to your weapons and whatever you're working on. Maybe try these edges here. Not too bad. And then one final thing we could do is select the bottom faces here. So if we select one face on the bottom and press Shift G and then choose coplanar, you can select the bottom area. Now if it doesn't select everything, you can just adjust this threshold option here until it picks up everything. And then maybe we'll just hop into front view, 1 on the number pad, and just kind of grab this piece down some more like that. Now if we take a look in the main view, you can see, it doesn't look too bad, but it doesn't really match up where we want it. First things first, let's move this back area in a little bit. So we'll tab into face mode, select maybe those two faces, and then we'll just kind of grab these in a little bit just to make it a little bit thinner. That might have been too much actually. Let's try that. And you can also scroll in to kind of get more variation. And another thing I want to do is tighten up the top here because it doesn't really transition in there very nicely. So I'm just going to tab into edit mode. We'll press Ctrl R and then drag a loop cut right up to the top there. That'll kind of hold it, as you can see. Now we can maybe do the same thing to the bottom. Let's just see if it makes it look worse or not. I actually think it looks better, but I'm not going to pull it down super far, maybe to about there. Then we'll take these edges and just pull them over just a bit. We don't even need proportional editing really. Something like that should be okay. So it's looking pretty good. I think the final thing we could probably add to this is a little bit of like extensions on the front where your fingers would wrap around. So I'll just tab into edge mode and we'll just maybe select just a few of these edges here and just pull them. Now maybe proportional editing will do us a little bit better. Let's kind of see what we can do here. I don't know, something like that, just a smooth in and out transition that you might see on an actual grip. And just a few more adjustments, then we can hop on to the next video. This is really just all trial and error, seeing what looks good and what doesn't. So I'm going to see if maybe I can make this more rounded. So you know what, instead of selecting multiple edges, we can just grab maybe two of those vertices and then do something like that. See, just something small like that makes it look even nicer. Now if you remember, at the beginning of the course we installed mirror tools. Until now we haven't had to actually use it. But I'm going to show you a very cool thing we can do with mirror tools. So we want that curvature, right? Well, check this out. If we tap into vert mode, what we can actually do is maybe select, control click those. Now check this out. If we go to curve stretch and maybe give this, let's do 3, and click on this. Now if we click on a vertex, we have these pivot points we can use to kind of make it more curvy, and really however we want it. This is one of my favorite tools. I absolutely love it, and that looks good to me. Let's do a little bit of a variation on this one. I'll do Control 1 on the number pad to go into back view. We'll click on curve stretch and then, make a little bit of an adjustment here and there. And let's see how this looks now. Not too shabby. And then I'm just going to grab some of these bottom faces. It might seem like I'm going back and forth, and there's simply no other true way to do it. If you're not happy with going back and forth and making small adjustments, then your art's not going to be at the level it should be. So, it might be annoying having to go and just keep changing things up, but the reality is that's what you have to do in most designs. So I'm just going to show the process on video, of course, because I want everyone to learn. So we can use proportional editing here to kind of pull that grip down. That's probably too much, just a little bit. See, something like that really does the job quite well. And now I'm just going to select some of these verts and double tap G to slide them. We'll turn off proportional editing, slide them across, and then we'll slide these across just to kind of, even that out a bit more. Overall, this thing looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Okay, so I'm happy with where this is. Honestly, I think we can just stop here because we made some pretty good progress. In the next video, we're going to add even more detail to this grip, but we're going to actually do a cool little trick that I think you'll enjoy. So yeah, you can make any additional adjustments you want on this grip, but in the next video we're going to add even more detail to it to make it look super cool.